The role of rotavirus as the primary cause of young pigeon disease. Is there treatment for rotavirus? There is no specific treatment available for viral infections. However, certain measures can be taken to address the symptoms and minimize complications. To counter dehydration, it is recommended to administer electrolytes, particularly during the acute phase of the infection. Antibiotics may be considered to prevent secondary bacterial infections, although infected birds often show poor responsiveness to these medications. The compromised appetite and reduced fluid intake of affected birds make it challenging for them to consume medication effectively. There are some commercially available products, such as egg powder derived from chickens vaccinated against type A rotavirus, which have shown potential efficacy. Additionally, using virucidal powders like Virkon H2O in drinking water can aid in disease control. Another preventive measure is to minimize exposure of birds to a large number of viruses. This can be achieved by avoiding the reuse of contaminated living spaces and ensuring thorough cleaning and disinfection procedures. Maintaining a healthy population of gut bacteria seems to have a positive impact during disease outbreaks. The use of probiotics as a chick starter medication can help establish a beneficial gut flora, enhancing the chick's ability to fight off diseases. What is rotavirus? The role of rotavirus as the primary cause of young pigeon disease. For several years, pigeon fanciers have observed symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, and deaths among their young birds. These issues could often be noticed in advance by vigilant fanciers when young birds struggled to return home after a training flight or showed hesitancy in approaching the feeding tray. Crop retention, also known as water in the crop, was a common occurrence, indicating gastrointestinal dysfunction. This led to vomiting, changes in the appearance of droppings, including a green color due to reduced food intake. Additionally, yellow pigments in the urine indicated liver damage, often confirmed through autopsies. Prompt action involving the use of antibiotics, antiparasitic drugs primarily targeting trichomoniasis or hexamida, and liver-supporting supplements could mitigate or eliminate the disease's impact on young birds. Although the syndrome was not fully understood, it suggested a bacterial and/or parasitic component associated with young pigeon disease. Previous research and autopsies conducted in the 1990s had pointed to adenovirus as the main cause. However, recent autopsies on pigeons that succumbed to the young bird disease revealed sporadic presence of the virus. Moreover, attempts to induce the same symptoms in pigeons by intentionally infecting them with adenovirus or other potential pathogens failed. Consequently, international academics suggested that adenovirus might not be the primary cause anymore, challenging the assumption that it was in the past, referred to as adenovirus types 1 and 2. As a result, the disease has increasingly been referred to as young pigeon disease syndrome or YPDS. Nonetheless, colloquially, it is still referred to as adeno due to its historical description as the E-Coli syndrome. While performing autopsies, the adenovirus is occasionally found, although less frequently. In many cases, herpes or circovirus is more prevalent. Some pigeons were found to have the paramyxovirus, while bacteria such as E-Coli, necessitating antibiotics, and parasites like Trichomonas were sporadically discovered, along with hexamida, though less frequently. However, none of these pathogens were consistently present, and there were instances where none of them were detected at all. Notably, finding E. coli in the large intestine during an autopsy holds no significance since it naturally resides there. Surprisingly, when this bacterium was found in locations other than the large intestine, researchers discovered that the strains causing severe symptoms had minimal or no pathogenic features upon DNA analysis. This finding occurred when the bacteria were detected in the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, where they are not typically found. According to academics, these findings suggest that the primary cause of the disease remains unknown, and the various pathogens identified are secondary factors that exploit the compromised health of pigeons, exacerbating or complicating the disease. Consequently, a group of reputable researchers and veterinary surgeons, led by Dr. Elisabeth Poyce from Germany, initiated investigations into alternative causes for the disease. In 2016, a new disease outbreak occurred in Australia, resulting in numerous deaths among both young and adult birds. The symptoms of this disease closely resembled those observed in Europe for years, with the distinction that it affected a significant number of adult birds as well, unlike in Europe, except during the 1990s when the disease initially appeared. Extensive diagnostic research and the exclusion of adenovirus, PMV, herpes, etc., led veterinary surgeon Colin Walker and others to discover that this new disease was caused by a previously unidentified rotavirus type A. Following its identification in Victoria, it was referred to as the Victorian pigeon virus. In response to the warnings from Australia, the FCI decided to prohibit Australian pigeons from participating in their FCI-1 loft races, a measure already implemented by the $1 Million Race in South Africa in 2017. Thanks to these discoveries, European researchers like Dr. Ruben Stroth from the Friedrich Loeffler Institute, formerly affiliated with Freiburg University, started screening for rotavirus variants. The results revealed that similar to the Victoria virus, rotaviruses were present in all diagnostic materials from young birds exhibiting the described symptoms. Moreover, these variants were more prevalent in pigeons with severe symptoms. Although these virus variants shared similarities with the Victoria virus, they were not identical. Analysis of older diagnostic materials from previous years led to the same conclusion, as these rotavirus variants were found more frequently in nearly all stored diagnostic samples of typical young pigeon disease YPDS, including the oldest samples dating back to 2000. Interestingly, researchers also discovered newer variants of this virus every few years, which seemed to affect larger numbers of pigeons. Furthermore, they were able to replicate the symptoms experimentally by infecting young birds with the newly identified virus, confirming the identification of the primary cause. In hindsight, the rumors about a new disease emerging, as suggested by various media and fanciers, turned out to be untrue. Researchers believe that this virus has always been the primary cause of young pigeon disease, a view I share. However, the disease had not received sufficient investigation, and it does not imply that the involvement of other pathogens should be neglected or overlooked. It is plausible that the Australian virus has European origins. The occurrence of Australian adult birds falling ill and dying can be attributed to the introduction of a pathogen that was not initially present in Australia's animal population. Therefore, this new pathogen easily affected the highly susceptible pigeons, including the adult birds. In Europe, these viruses are widespread across the entire pigeon population, and the adult birds have already developed immunity, preventing them from contracting the disease. However, it is likely that European adult birds still occasionally become infected with this virus, albeit at subclinical levels without clear symptoms. This infection can serve as a kind of booster vaccine. Rotaviruses have long been known to cause severe gastrointestinal problems in humans and animals. In retrospect, it seems logical that this type of virus can lead to similar symptoms and illnesses in pigeons and other birds. Since late 2017, a more virulent variant of the rotavirus has been causing widespread damage in our regions, resulting in numerous deaths among young birds, peaking between March and June 2018, as well as in the spring of 2019. Autopsies conducted during these periods consistently revealed the presence of rotavirus in the liver of birds displaying typical symptoms such as crop stasis, vomiting, and severe liver damage. In 2019, diagnostic labs, prompted by several veterinarians, began providing routine tests to detect rotavirus in pigeons' organs or droppings. One of the most significant outcomes of these studies for pigeon fanciers is the possibility of easily vaccinating pigeons against rotavirus. The production of rotavirus vaccines commenced in 2018 and expanded in subsequent years, including both autogenous vaccines tailored for specific pigeon families and commercially available vaccines. As a veterinarian, I can attest to the effectiveness of these vaccinations, representing a significant breakthrough in the medical care of racing birds. Pigeons that receive the vaccine are clearly well protected against the disease, with the number of deaths reduced to nearly zero. Optimal protection is achieved approximately 14 days after vaccination, meaning the disease can still occur within 2 weeks after vaccination. Naturally, the longer pigeons are vaccinated, the higher the chances of survival, as observed in practice. The severity of the disease appears to vary depending on whether pigeons become ill 2 days or 10 days after vaccination. Some veterinarians have reported successful emergency vaccinations, administering the vaccine to a diseased pigeon to gain quicker control over the disease. However, prevention through timely vaccination is always the preferable approach. Therefore, it is strongly recommended to vaccinate young birds preventatively, especially if previous years witnessed numerous diseased or deceased pigeons. Determining the most effective vaccination schemes is an ongoing challenge, taking into account maternal immunity, transfer of antibodies from the mother to the egg, and the need to administer vaccines before potential infections. Pigeons at 4 weeks of age are likely too young for an effective vaccination due to the continued presence of maternal immunity. It may be possible to overcome this challenge through multiple vaccinations spaced a few weeks apart. The optimal age for vaccination may range from 6 to 8 weeks. Further research is warranted, and consulting a veterinarian for personalized advice is recommended. We extend our gratitude to the numerous colleagues and researchers involved in these scientific endeavors, as their efforts have resulted in a significant breakthrough in the medical care of our beloved racing birds. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at the links and email below. There are many reasons to buy my racing pigeon method. Here are some of the best reasons. You will get excellent results. It's a very simple system to use. It's affordable. I have had over 400 first prize winners. It's adaptable to any situation. You can use it with any racing method, natural, widowhood, young birds. It's a very effective method. There is no need to spend a lot of money on fancy pigeon products. It's a reliable system and it is foolproof to use. Professional athletes, race horses, take the same products. There is science behind this, not just hearsay. It is all to do with red blood cells and oxygen in the blood. Without that, a pigeon will not race well, or an athlete will not win a race. If he has low oxygen in his blood, the above is fact and is 100% science. There are a few things you can do to improve your chances of winning at racing pigeons. One of the most important things is to learn as much as you can about the sport. You'll need to know the different types of pigeons, how to train them, and how to race them. Another key factor is practice. You'll need to be able to fly your pigeons competently in order to win races. And, of course, you'll need to have the funds to invest in racing pigeons and other racing equipment. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at the links and email below. There are many reasons to buy my racing pigeon method. Here are some of the best reasons. You will get excellent results. It's a very simple system to use. It's affordable. I have had over 400 first prize winners. It's adaptable to any situation. You can use it with any racing method, natural, widowhood, young birds. It's a very effective method. There is no need to spend a lot of money on fancy pigeon products. It's a reliable system and it is foolproof to use. Professional athletes, race horses, take the same products. There is science behind this, not just hearsay. It is all to do with red blood cells and oxygen in the blood. Without that, a pigeon will not race well, or an athlete will not win a race. If he has low oxygen in his blood, the above is fact and is 100% science. There are a few things you can do to improve your chances of winning at racing pigeons. One of the most important things is to learn as much as you can about the sport. You'll need to know the different types of pigeons, how to train them, and how to race them. Another key factor is practice. You'll need to be able to fly your pigeons competently in order to win races. And, of course, you'll need to have the funds to invest in racing pigeons and other racing equipment. Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at the links and email below.